which I have done a few times on the channel, but I realized it's been a whole 2 years since the last time, which is kind of surprising. And I was kind of feeling like playing some video games tonight before I went to bed. I guess I'll be up later than I was originally intending. And I thought, I might as well stream it. I haven't done that in a while. I beat my personal best, which was not the most impressive thing in the world. I'm not a speedrunner by any stretch, although it's kind of a big dream of mine to become a good Donkey Kong Country speedrunner. And I've worked on it a little bit here and there. I haven't put the hours into it or haven't had the chance as I'd like. A few years ago, I was playing every day and starting to really kind of train for it. And I need to try to get back to that at some point if I can. But I'm very busy. I'm doing a lot of stuff and working on the channel, making a movie right now, and all of that. So this is one of many hobbies of mine. But I thought I might as well stream if I'm going to do this anyway, and we'll see if I can beat my personal best tonight. You might be able to tell I've been a little bit under the weather this week, so I don't know how much commentary I'm going to do. I actually sound worse than I realized. Hopefully that'll kind of clear up as I go along and start talking. So this might be the most silent you ever see me for a playthrough stream. But anyway, I also wanted to do this just because I've been on hiatus. I promised I would try to come in and do a stream or two. So this will be a nice, fun, relaxed thing. That's why I led in with aquatic ambiance. I thought we could just kind of kick our feet up and relax tonight. I know I'm starting pretty late. I was watching a movie earlier with my family, debating about what to do before I went to bed, and I went, I'm going to hang out with you guys. If anybody is up and wants to hang out, welcome if you're watching live right now. Thanks for looking at this later on. As always, there's Michael McAllister. Good to see you. So you want to be an Imagineer. How are you? It's been a while. Tom is here. So yeah, it's great to see everybody. So you wanted to be an Imagineer, says love the shirt. I don't know if that's Tiki or Blue Dragon 5. Those are both guys that work on that channel. But thanks, yeah. I almost forgot I had this, and I went down to try to pick a somewhat appropriate shirt. Oh, that's right. I've got the Donkey Kong Country shirt. So anyway, as you might not be surprised by this, I was wearing a Spawn shirt earlier. Okay, God, I sound awful. But let's go ahead and get into this. I'm just going to start playing. I'll try to interact with you a little bit here and there, but I'm going to focus pretty hard on the game and try not to screw up too much. The only kind of fun gimmicky thing I'm doing tonight, I don't think I've done this before with this game, is I'm playing with a Sega Saturn controller, a Sega brand USB Sega Saturn controller, which is wonderful. It has the same, one second, my chair is stuck on a cord. It has the same feel as the original Saturn controller. And, kind of weird to play Super Nintendo that way, but I had it handy, and I was like, that'll be kind of a fun gimmick to try. Okay, I'm going to make this as entertaining as possible. I sound awful right now. Goodness. Okay, here we go, folks. Let me just get my gameplay up here, and away we go. Let me drop the audio level here a little bit. As always, just let me know how the balance is there in the comments if you can. I think I'll drop this even a little bit more. If the game's too loud, if you can't hear the game at all, let me know. Sorry to keep pausing this on us, but I want to be able to see the comments here. Okay. Yeah, hi, Tiki. Hi, AMC. Good to see you. One of these days I'll play two-player and pass a controller back and forth to myself and see how fast I can do two games. So one of the ways in which I was a terrible quote-unquote speedrunner before is I really preferred playing as Donkey Kong, partly because of the enemies that you can kill that Diddy Kong can't, and I have finally seen the light and started playing more with Diddy. Just get rolling a little bit faster, but I'm not real used to it yet. I'm also not anything like as fast at... I didn't actually mean to go in there. Because I'm trying to go quick, so I'm going to avoid... Although I guess that's kind of a shortcut, so... I guess for, again, quote-unquote speedrunning, it is smarter to go that way. But by and large, I'm not bothering with a lot of the secrets and trying to play through very quickly. If you play well enough, you don't have to worry so much about balloons and letters and all the collectibles to get extra lives. I almost want to turn this light off that I have over my head right now. It's a little dark on my screen. Should be alright, though. Nah, see, that's where I'm not used to playing with Diddy yet. Tiki said something about cartwheeling. Yeah, I haven't mastered just flying through levels with that like a lot of people can do. I do a decent amount of it, but I'm not real fast at it yet. He says it's all Diddy, just cartwheel the enemy. Yeah, and then as you say, there's some that you can't do that with. But you'll see speedrunners that'll shoot through with the cartwheeling like that's just how you run, and it's astounding what people are able to do with that. I'm working on it. But there's a rhythm to it, and I don't want to lose the precision I have yet. Like, I've just got to really practice it, so I'm not going to be, like, nutsy about that tonight. James Egan, who's excited for Venom 3? I mean, it looks more enjoyable than 2, certainly. Yeah, I was a little bit bummed that I wasn't able to do a Captain Logan show this week. I had to take the week off because I was working on a really hefty writing workshop. We finished how did I assign these buttons? We finished a novel for one of our writers, Kareem, who's worked on the channel with me before. He's writing a really amazing science fiction novel, and a lot of pages that I had to read and critique for that. I wrote a ton of notes, and I needed the week for that. Plus, I'm going out of town next week, had to prepare for that. A lot of different things happening. And we did a movie shoot on Tuesday, too, as we've been trying to do every week. Although we were going to do a night shoot. Well, I mean, the whole thing was night, but we were going to do an outdoor night shoot and got rained out. So we got part of it accomplished and stuff I could do in the house, but we didn't get to shoot everything we wanted to. Anyway, but I was just going to say, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get to do Venom 3, or that I didn't get to talk about, pardon me, I'm trying to concentrate on this, but I didn't get to talk about that trailer, because yeah, it's nuts, it's bad stuff. And of course, right away at the start of that, they had to really punctuate one of the main things that I don't like about their take on Venom. I forget, how you feel about the humor and the way the villains are always just another symbiote, and how they don't understand what Carnage is. Although that's part of it, because they don't understand what Venom is either. So when you have, right at the start of that trailer, spoilers for the Venom 3 trailer, if anybody cared, The Last Dance, there had to have been a better title for that, right? And they're, I think, making a really big deal out of, like trying to make us all think that they're going to kill him off in that movie. And I guess it could go either way, but it feels really red herring to me, where that's their big selling point, like, come see the movie because maybe he'll die in this one. And then you'll get to the end and they'll do some sort of really sappy ending where it's The Last Dance and that they're not going to make any more movies, but he rides off and they run off into the sunset together. But anyway, I'm interrupting myself. The thing that drives me crazy that they punctuated right at the start is that Venom and Eddie Brock do not form a shared consciousness at all. So, like, it's not really a symbiotic relationship. And you've got, and it's been that way since the beginning, so of course it's consistent. But that's supposed to be what's fun about it. And yeah, like sometimes their banter back and forth is one of the better things about those movies, that first movie. But what was always really interesting about Venom is that Eddie Brock and Venom separately are different characters than they are when you put them together, and then they form something else entirely. But, you know, they really complement each other in the first place, which is why that's able to happen. And I wish we could truly get that on film. I guess in its way, Spider-Man 3 gets closer, but it isn't exactly that either. Yeah, I mean, it's really not, because, you know, he keeps pulling back the Venom face and having dialogue all by himself. Like, that's not really Venom. Robert Captain Vincent, the prime example of a true symbiotic relationship. Yeah, you get us together and we're some other, much more irritating thing than just by ourselves. I've been hanging out with Vince quite a bit lately, actually. We've been having a good time. Oh, I can't believe I missed that. Wow, I am not playing my best. AMC, did you catch Amazing Kurt Connors in the trailer? I did not. I saw it once. I watched it, you know, as closely as I could for one viewing, but I'm sure I missed stuff. This was just a headline I saw. I didn't actually read an interview or anything, but Tom Hardy said something about Sony having an actual Spider-Man now. I'm assuming he just means that there's supposed to be a Spider-Man in that universe, but we're never going to actually have it. Maybe we'll keep alluding to it. It's going to be kind of ironic if they end that really perplexing, bewildering, terrible universe, having never really had a Spider-Man there, or maybe even saying that they do, but then it had nothing to do with the creation of Venom, and the only real Peter Parker you ever get in those movies is in Madam Web, which is its own thing, but does indeed have a Peter Parker in it. Oh, when you said amazing, you meant the actor that played Kurt Connors in that movie. Oh. I should have known what you meant, but just the way you said that with the quotation marks, I thought you know, maybe it said amazing in the trailer or something. Roboter is, hey Cap, hi there. Sorry for my voice, guys. I may not have done this if I had realized that it was going to sound like this tonight. It was fine earlier, but then, you know, I rested it 2 hours watching Godzilla -1 again earlier with my family. And now it's just an absolute wreck. But he says, I still consider the first Donkey Kong to be the most difficult. Always dig your skill at it. Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that. I wish I was rolling a little bit faster tonight. But I am not at 100% health-wise right now, certainly. Not to get too deep into it, but I discovered recently that, and I haven't gotten this diagnosed, and part of it's because there's a lot of doctors that don't seem to know about this condition yet, or don't fully understand it, and so I don't know if I even can get this, like, officially diagnosed yet, but I seem to have a condition. We've been doing some kind of experiments with food and stuff. Nothing crazy. I'm not messing around with, you know, self-medicating or whatever. But I seem to have a condition where I have like a histamine issue that explains really every kind of health problem I've ever had. And I've never been like a super unhealthy person, but I have had like a weak stomach and kind of stomach issues going all the way back to high school. And I also have an occasional kind of congestion problem and an issue where I'll just kind of start sneezing uncontrollably. if certain part of my body, if certain parts of my body, pardon me, get like too cold or too hot or whatever. It all seems related, it turns out, with some research that we've been doing, where I said I wasn't going to get too into it. I guess I'll explain it this far. There's an enzyme, and I forget the name of it, that apparently some people don't produce enough of, that's supposed to lower the amount of histamine in the body. Like, histamine is a thing that you need, but you can have too much of it, like with a lot of things. And if you have too much of it, it can create a lot of really bizarre symptoms. And anyway, so I've been looking at lists of low histamine foods, because apparently histamine is actually in food. A lot of people don't realize that. And give me one second. So I've been looking at low histamine foods, no histamine foods, and foods that don't like make the body produce more histamine, because that's a thing too. And I've been intentionally avoiding as much of those kinds of things as possible, and it's been making a real difference. But at the same time, I think I've really kind of confused my body with it, and so I've been dealing with like a bug this week that I don't know if it is even related to that. But also the couple of times that I have accidentally otherwise had something with higher histamine, it's affected me more than it used to, and I'm not sure if it has to do with my change in diet or if it's coincidental. But anyway, there's a few things anyway that I used to have all the time that are kind of some of my favorite things that I'm having to cut out entirely now. That I might down the road try to bring in a little bit if I feel like I can get away with it. But right now, just experimenting with this to see if that's what it really is. I'm having to really stay away from a lot of stuff. And one of them is alcohol. At the moment, I'm not drinking at all, because that is a high histamine thing, and some alcoholic beverages more so than others. Luckily, vodka is one of the least, histamine issue kind of alcoholic beverages, and that's kind of my, hard liquor drink of choice. But at the same time, it can still be a problem. And of course, alcohol lowers your immune system, and I've kind of just been having immune system issues the last couple of weeks, so I'm having to avoid that. I can't have pineapple anymore, which is a giant bummer. That's like my absolute favorite thing. And I'm having to really avoid, I wasn't going to talk about this as much as I have ended up talking about this, but I've been having to avoid really anything as much as possible, like processed, and it's out of a box. So like fresh everything, cooking constantly. I can't believe I missed that go. I'm cooking a lot more for myself. It's a lot of, chicken and rice and really lean stuff. But I'm getting really fit again, and I was already in, kind of decent shape, but I'd put a few pounds on again. And some of that was intentional for the movie, because I'm wanting to be kind of two different, kind of slightly different, not even slightly, but, different body masses for different versions of myself that I'm playing in the movie. So I put a few pounds back on, and I'm starting to shed that again, and I'm trying to bulk up a little bit. I don't feel like I'm giving too much away by saying I've always said that the Superhero Rewind movie is partly a superhero movie in and of itself, and that means that I am in fact doing some superhero stuff in it. That's all I'll say. And so I want to be in kind of better shape for that. I'm not gonna be like Hugh Jackman or Tom Hardy or anything, but I want to at least not have a gut and get as close to a relative six-pack as I possibly can get. But I don't know if I'll be able to accomplish that by the time I have to shoot those scenes. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but it's helping me play better, I think. See, as soon as I stopped talking, I died. Or at least I got Diddy killed. But yeah, it's unfortunate that there's not anything you can take that just, like, produces that enzyme that I was talking about. So you really just have to avoid certain foods. And then a lot of exercise helps, so I'm back to working out twice a day, half an hour each session, which is what I was doing a few months ago. I'm still not really used to this layout I've got for these buttons, because it's, you know, a 3-button, well, it's a 6-button Genesis controller, but the buttons are in different places, of course, than they are with a Super Nintendo controller. Yeah, sometimes I get a hit there. So that was nice. I'll look at comments again here in a second. Again, apologies if I'm not able to interact as much as I'd like to. AMC, sorry, Cap, that sucks. I've been having similar issues. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I think the histamine thing is... And I'm not sure, I'm fuzzy on whether it actually is, because like I said, I've done some research, considered mast cell activation syndrome, or if it's like a related problem. But it's something that I've read is like 17 to 20% of the population has. But at the same time, given that a lot of doctors don't even know to diagnose it, and considering that it seems, and I'm not a doctor, I don't know my medical stuff at all, but it just stands to reason to me, a layman, as little as I know, that some things seem so connected to, or have like similar issues to the histamine thing, that maybe that's like the larger root of some people's problems. For instance, gluten is a real big histamine part of food, and I don't know if I can't remember if that's a histamine creator or if it just has a lot in it already, but we've gotten really kind of anti-gluten lately in the culture. Like, there's a lot of people that think they have a gluten allergy, or I shouldn't say think they do. Some people I'm sure do, but what I'm getting at is you've got people that seem, you know, to have issues with gluten, and then other people who just don't think it's healthy, so they've been avoiding it. I wonder how many of those people actually have the histamine thing, and because gluten is so high in that, and is in everything, or in so much stuff, that if they cut gluten out, they feel better, and they think that that is the problem. But it's possible that it's histamine, and that the other foods that they eat that produce histamine, or have a lot of it, are are kind of negligible for them, where like they don't end up noticing it, and it doesn't affect them as much. Like, it's impossible to completely cut out everything that has histamine, because so much stuff does, but you have to kind of lower it if you have this problem. So yeah, food for thought, not to be punny about it. But I wonder about that. I wonder if, if people start to understand this thing, and knowledge of this finally catches on, because there's more and more, medical channels talking about it on YouTube and stuff. It makes me wonder if, in 10 years' time, you'll start seeing aisles at the grocery store that are like, low histamine foods, like you're seeing with, anti-gluten stuff. Robert, is Twister still your most anticipated movie of the year? At this point, yeah, because, no, I'm kidding, not really. I was going to say because Apes is behind us now. Well, Apes are actually right in front of us at the moment, but the planet of them, the planet of said Apes. No, at this point, for the rest of the year, it's Beetlejuice. I'm really excited about Beetlejuice. And I'm excited to be able to say I'm excited about a movie. I want to say I'm cautiously optimistic about Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't think it looks great. I don't think it looks as terrible as some other friends of mine do, but I think I agree with Jason when he says the trailers make it look like they really don't have any ideas. And I'm just afraid it's not going to be as funny as 1 and 2, and that they're just not gonna be very creative with the multiverse stuff and the meta stuff. Okay, I'm not getting through this level real lickety-split, but I'm kind of taking my time a little bit because this is a level that sometimes I get kind of stuck on. Not that it's super hard or anything, but there's just some places that it's easy to get careless and make mistakes. But that's good. We didn't get stuck and really died the one time, so that's good. Yeah, James, the first Beetlejuice is worth watching. Yeah, Robert, I think they cut a really good trailer for Beetlejuice. And some of the things they're doing, of course, are just capitalizing on the really popular iconography and scenes and dialogue and stuff. Like, maybe arguably you have to do to sell those things. I want to think that it's not just going to be the same movie again. It doesn't look that way to me. Like a lot of people, I'm excited about all the practical effects they're doing. I'm excited about some of the things that I've heard Tim Burton say about Lydia's character, and then the idea of a character like that, you know, growing up, getting older, living in a different world now, and how that idea spoke to him, and that's why he made the movie, is intriguing to me. I think she looks great. And I've said this before, but it really feels like Michael Keaton is just kind of filled out in the role. You know, it doesn't feel like a 70-year-old man trying to like recapture something that he did when he was young. It felt like maybe he was almost too young to play it in the first place. Like, he looks perfect to me. So yeah, who knows if it'll work out or not, but I have allowed myself to get excited about that one. And I'm not the biggest Beetlejuice fan in the world or anything. I think I'm maybe more excited about it because Jason loves that movie, and he's getting what looks like it could be a really great sequel. Also, with these things, you know, waiting this long would usually be kind of too little too late. But so far, they've kind of sold me on maybe this was actually the right time to make it. But we'll see if that turns out to be the case. Folks saying sorry that I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, but that's all right. Thanks, guys. It's weird because in some ways, you know, I'm feeling a lot better because I'm working out a lot and I'm drinking a ton of water, and I'm getting some nutrients that I wasn't getting enough of, you know. So like I'm taking a lot of. Actually, I need to take my vitamins today. I haven't done that yet, but I'm taking a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D, tons and tons of protein. And for 3 years, I've cut out red meat and dairy entirely, or almost entirely. A little bit of dairy I do here and there, but like I don't eat ice cream. I don't regularly drink milk, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I don't eat cheese at all. I haven't had a slice of pizza in 3 years, which I sometimes miss a little bit, but my body can't even hardly process cheese at this point. And so it's better to just not even mess around with it. It's not worth it. And so now that I've figured out, I mean, I am 98% sure that the histamine thing is what this is. it's just really tracked with everything that has kind of bothered my stomach and given me other issues. As I've cut it out, I haven't had problems that those cause. So like it's pretty clear that that's what it is. Yeah. See, I'm still not quite used to doing that. But what I was going to say is I'm actually allowing a little bit of stuff back in because how much else I'm having to cut out. So I'm making it all about the histamine thing. Sorry, I have to keep saying that word. It's random. And not so much about the kind of arbitrary foods that I thought were just generically not good for you. So I actually can have some beef again, but I'm not having ground beef because that's a massive histamine creator. So then you have to really watch out for is stuff that creates a lot of bacteria. So if you have this condition, you have to stay away from leftovers. You really don't want to eat anything. I'm intentionally not using the ostrich just because I feel like I'm actually a little bit faster without it. Whoa, well, not if I do that. But anyway, you gotta watch out for leftovers because of bacteria that builds up with them. And so, I mean, it isn't that you can't eat anything left over, but like you don't want to eat anything past 3-4 days in the fridge, like 5 at the max. You can't eat deli meats. You can't have like tuna out of a can, stuff like that. You just got to keep things as fresh as possible. So I can eat steak again. I guess that's nice. My wife made steaks last week, and I went ahead and had that. I had no problem with it whatsoever. So that was nice. So like certain cuts of pork I can have, but just gotta really watch it. James Egan, are you excited that Jonathan Hickman and Greg Capullo are doing a Wolverine comic together? Yeah, mildly. I will try to check that out. I need to catch up on the rest of Hickman's X-Men stuff at some point. I guess the reason I say mildly is Hickman's a good writer. I certainly like a lot of the stuff I've read by him. It bums me out that he seems to be really the powerhouse writer left at Marvel, and there's like kind of nobody else, is what it seems like anyway. Now, I'm not paying a ton of attention to New and what's happening over there, certainly, but that has been my understanding, is that there's just really not a lot of guys left, not a lot of up and comers that have really replaced some of the legends of the last 20 years. But I bet that'll be great. And Jason Aaron's Ninja Turtles is supposed to start here in the next month, I think. Month or two. And that number one, of course, has like 9,000 variant covers. Because I guess the industry is just never going to get away from that. This is what we do now, folks. The world is really changing with, I mean, everything. Yeah, like technology and just how we consume things, and but just specifically with media and the stuff we like to talk about here on the channel. I'm going to be really interested to see in a decade how much of the infrastructure for some of this stuff finally changes. Like in 10 years, are we still going to have single issue comics the way we have them now? Because that has not seemed like the sustainable model. And yet we're still kind of clutching our pearls and holding on to that. I just mean as an industry. The proverbial we, not that I'm in the industry, but... I was reading comments. Oh, that was kind of a cool way to kill the bee, though. And then I looked back and I was like, oh, I didn't go under him when I needed to. And then I jumped. I don't think I've ever jumped fighting the giant bee before. Okay, so now we get into the level that if I get tripped up somewhere for a long time, this is usually the one. Knock on wood. We'll see what happens. So there's a shortcut at the end of this level. I'm sure I talked about all this last time I played this game. That lets you get through it real quick, and it's a very tough level. So especially if you're trying to go fast and you don't know the end of that real well, and you don't want to deal with 360-degree barrels, it's in your best interest to take that shortcut. And sometimes I manage it and sometimes I don't. And what I've learned is certain ports of this game, I don't know if I should say ports or ROMs or what, but I guess not ports. But when this goes on different platforms, I have played it on things that don't actually let you do the shortcut, which is weird. Well, like, it just won't fire you out of the barrel the right way to get to the shortcut barrel. And then occasionally I'll forget where it is, but I think I've got it right now. That is a super 90s chord progression there. Of all things, the Tick, the video game, which is not great. Someday I'll stream that. We can all sit around and be bored together. That is like a 4 or 5 hour beat 'em up if you play through the whole thing. It just goes on and on and on. And it's cute if you're a Tick fan. There's some real neat deep pulls and a lot of the music from the cartoon show. It's great. Okay, yeah, see, so I think that's where the shortcut was, but it wouldn't let me do it. Yeah, okay, we could be here for a minute. At least it didn't seem to let me. I don't know. I've been having that problem with this game on Switch, with the online Super Nintendo. Roboters, the Tick is one of the most tedious with waves of foes. Yeah, it is. But I brought that up because there's a track in that game with a really similar chord progression to the one I was just mentioning. That's like... There it is. We got it. Now we're cooking with gas. Yeah, usually I get to that from a diagonal angle with the other barrel right before it that shoots me this way. Oh, that's an interesting idea, Robert. He says Tick would be a good guest character in Injustice. That would be really amusing. I'd love to see that. Oh, what am I doing? I usually do the bonus stage at the top, but sometimes I forget I'm trying to go fast here. I could be trucking quicker, but I think being a little bit more meticulous is actually, in the long run, saved us time, because I'm not dying a ton. I hope everybody can hear me fine. It seems like we're not having any issues with that, but nobody's complained about sound yet. Chewbacca's Lover, good to see you. Hi there. Yeah, when I decided to stream, because like I said, this started from me just going, I want to play video games. Well, I might as well stream it. And then for a split second, I was like, people seem to be much more interested in me just picking a subject and talking, or even doing Q&A and stuff than gameplay, but it's what I felt like doing, so I was like, I guess I'll go ahead and do that. But I did kick around just doing kind of a catch-up stream, which is ultimately what this is turning into, because I'm talking about a lot of the things that I probably, that sucks, that I probably would have brought up there, except fewer people will look at this because it's a gameplay video. But that is okay. You're so right about that, Tiki. He says, the Tick getting canceled on Prime was one of the biggest losses of our time. What a tragic waste of an excellent cast and crew. Yeah, it still hurts my feelings. And I've talked about that a lot, and I've whined a lot about that. It is one of the reasons that I had a hard time getting into other superhero stuff on Amazon, because it just hurt my feelings that a great show got replaced by other, admittedly good things, but there were enough in that same vein that it was just unfair to me that it couldn't stay on. And I get that it's about ratings and stuff, but at the very least, that's not where I wanted to go. That was dumb. I gotta concentrate here. But at the very least, let Edlin have one more season and at least give us the big answers to stuff, because that show did not get a proper ending, and I think they did Edlin real dirty with it, because he believed he was getting another season, and so he ends it on a big cliffhanger. He's got all these dangling threads, mysteries about the Tick's origin. It looked like he was finally going to give us an origin for the Tick, which isn't something I ever thought I wanted to see. And then the identity stuff with Arthur was like infinitely fascinating, and I was like, well, it looks like the Tick is somehow both real and a figment of Arthur's imagination, or Arthur like created him somehow, is what it seemed like. And then you had all the stuff with Superior and the alien race that he was part of, and they're coming maybe to conquer or something. At the end of 2, you had the big build-up for Thrackersong, and to add insult to injury, Amazon let Edlin think he was getting another season when they also massively compromised his budget and time to the point where he had to rewrite. Well, I say time, I guess I don't know that for sure, but budget for sure, to the point where he had to completely rewrite the season. And so that second season is remarkable for having so much less to work with, and for losing time having to rewrite it like he did, but it does not hold a candle to the first, and it is certainly vastly inferior to that. Still fun to watch, still entertaining, but not what it should have been. And Edlin knows it. And there's no chance of it ever coming back now, because he shopped it everywhere, of course. Nobody else was interested. And then the last I heard, when he was asked about it, Ben Edlin said, I hope it can come back in some form at some point, but it will be a different thing. Meaning that we'll never get the end of that show. And I don't want him to see... This is going to mess our time up a little bit, but a couple extra lives can't hurt us. I don't want to see yet a third live-action iteration of that. They just nailed it this last time. Especially in, parroting modern, dark, cynical superhero stuff. Which is really ironic, because then it gets replaced by The Boys and then Invincible. Invincible, which got a comic crossover once with the Tick. Robotters, Cap, do you think a mainstream Tick movie would be able to succeed? I'm going to give you a giant question mark right now and cop out on this with any movie you would ask me, can this succeed? Because, oh man, I was 2 away from a 4th extra life. Because people, by and large, are not going to movie theaters right now. And so, success is arbitrary, and it depends on what we're talking about. Like, could it be made and be really good and be critically liked and be kind of, cult classic thing? Yeah, absolutely. Would it make money at the box office? Probably not. Could it do well viewership-wise streaming? Yeah, maybe, but that show was brilliant, and there weren't enough people to watch it to keep it alive, so I don't know. I've always had kind of a bittersweet relationship with the Tick as a property, because I think it's brilliant. I think Ben Edlund has the most unique sense of humor of any, like, quirky genre writer, apart from maybe Douglas Adams. Like, I put those 2 guys, head to head with that. And it's impressive because Edlund's not British, and the British are kind of known for that kind of stuff. Sorry, my voice is getting kind of crackly again. Give me just a second here. Sorry for coughing in the mic there. But anyway, but the thing is, the Tick has never been real popular, and I think it absolutely deserves to be. I think it's astounding that it's achieved the success that it has. It's gotten 3 different TV shows for a thing that has never produced a lot of comics, and whose comic company isn't even a publisher in the first place. They're a retailer, New England Comics. This is all stuff I've talked about a million times, but just for folks that don't know, but there's a part of me that's always kind of enjoyed one of my favorite things still being as relatively, I can't say underground, but, independent and not, like, super mainstream, where, the popularity of it has never really affected the quality of it. Not to say that every Tick thing is good, but especially when Ben Edlund is there, like, he's never really, let the success of it go to his head or had an ego about it. It doesn't seem like, certainly hasn't affected his writing. He's always been really consistent, and he's evolved as a writer too. And it's been kind of fun. I don't mean to be elitist about it, because if it got insanely popular, in some ways, that is a good thing, because it means more people get to find out about and get into this thing that I adore, so that's great. But it has been a little bit fun to be sort of a part of what feels like sometimes like a secret club, where one of my favorite things is not everybody else's favorite thing, and that can be fun. Although it can be difficult when like, the absolute most perfect quote to bring up in a situation is a Tick quote, and that happens a lot with me, and nobody knows what I'm talking about. But my wife and my kids do, because I've trained them. No, my wife loves the Tick as much as I do. Which is weird. That's one of the big things that she latched onto when we were dating. That and Star Trek. I think Sarah actually even likes Warburton a little bit better than I do. So I actually don't even have the time of the stream really right up in front of me right now. How long have we been at this, I wonder? 50 minutes. Close to an hour. Not bad, I don't think. Here comes Torchlight Trouble. Okay, so I am playing this on just an emulator today because it was easy to set up fast, which means that I have to put in kind of a seizure warning because that will flash your face and it's obnoxious. Later ports for this game do not do that. They've eliminated that flash that hits you like that, which is really, really nice of them. So if you play this on the... I'm sure I talked about this last time I played this game, but if you play this on the Super Nintendo Mini, or you play it on Switch, you don't have to worry about getting blinded every time you turn the flashlight toward you. Oh yeah, I forgot you can't hit those with Diddy. Crap. James Egan, Cap, would you guys ever continue Marvel Mania? At this point, I'm going to say no, because we're focusing on commentaries right now with Rewind. I haven't been writing Rewind for the last couple of years. It's been, as a lot of you guys know, it's been just about the commentaries lately, for lots of different reasons. I've really been enjoying that project. I know it doesn't get, the view counts that the script reviews did, or even that sometimes they do great, but even often as well as the unscripted commentaries did. But the idea of having I've said this before, but the idea of having a consistent format where we can have, a commentary for every single superhero movie ever made, or as close as we can get to that, is really, really appealing to me. And hopefully they'll keep getting hit more, in the back end as they've been out longer. But anyway, because of that, we just are already doing commentaries for those movies. And yeah, the Mania thing was kind of a different thing, where we're not necessarily watching them ahead of time, although DJ and I, dang it, did more of that. There were certain movies that we just didn't feel like we knew well enough to go in completely blind. And we do blind commentaries on TV shows and, other kinds of movies and stuff. But since Rewind is lately turned into just commentaries, and that's not saying I'll never write another one, I just haven't done it in a long time. But I've talked about maybe doing it for select ones. I don't want to promise that, but I have ideas. There's stuff I'd like to do, but I'm focused on the movie. I'm focusing on trying to get back into writing and publishing after that. So we'll see what happens. But I don't really see... I'm not really answering your question. I don't really see the point of Marvel Mania at this point, because commentaries are the main focus for superhero stuff in the first place now. Chicago's Lover, LOL, Cap is a hipster who wants the tick to be obscure. Yeah, not really, but sometimes that's fun. Robert, $2 super chat, thanks, man. Is a 90s tick revival possible after X-Men 97? Wow, that's interesting. I will say I think Townsend Coleman is still up for it. I don't think he's skipped a beat with his voice, or at least he's still kind of a chameleon. I haven't heard him try to do the tick in a long time, because there's been no reason for him to do the tick in a long time. Now, it's possible that he's done that voice on videos and stuff, and I'm, getting older, and I haven't heard it, and I don't know what he sounds like now. But I want to say I'd be surprised if he didn't still sound pretty good with it. Rob Paulson, of course, is still around doing a lot of work, and those guys actually have been traveling together doing cons. I wanted to go meet them. I actually had initially planned on doing this year. I was going to go meet them in Georgia and try to hang out with DJ while I was there. They're doing a con, I think, next week or the week after. And I ended up with just so many trips and things going on that I decided, time-wise and finance-wise, it was probably smart not to do that this year. But I nearly did. There were a lot of people at that con I would have liked to have seen. And it was primarily a Power Rangers con. And there's still some folks I haven't gotten signatures from that I would have wanted for that. But then they also had a Ninja Turtles reunion, which gives you also several Tick voices because they crossed in and out a lot. Guys, I think we are tracking to do quite a bit better time-wise than I did last time. I haven't gotten stuck anywhere yet. Now, I don't know the last map anything like as well as I do the rest of the game, but because a couple of years ago I was working on this every day for like a month and a half, I know them a lot better than I used to. So, knock on wood, but maybe we'll get lucky and we won't actually get full on, 15, 20 minutes stuck anywhere. That was dumb, though. I just lost my barrel. So I gotta do this with Donkey Kong, slower and by himself. That was really stupid. What the hell were we talking about? Oh, Tick Revival. My gut was to say, oh boy, no, I don't want to see that. But like I said, Edlin's not skipped a beat in his writing. He could totally go back to that brand of Tick again, I think, really easily. I don't know how much like 97 it would be. I wonder if he would try to make it exactly the show it was or update it a little bit like 97 did. I think it would, at the very least, go to some of the like weirder, and I don't want to say vulgar, but like somewhat more adult places that the comics did, just because it knows its audience, kind of like X-Men 97 did. But some of those voice actors are still with us and still doing voice work, and they sound great. So I don't know if I'm even totally opposed to that. And Disney owns that show. And it's on Hulu, and I think the numbers have been, relatively decent with it for old cartoon shows. That sucks, because I was right at the end there. See, I'm surprising myself. I thought I was going to say, oh god, no. But I'm really not. And that kind of has the X-Men thing a little bit too, in that it could have kept going if they'd wanted it to. I mean, it was still... I mean, the Tick was never super popular, but I don't think it ended over ratings. This is a thing I would love to pick Ben Edlund's brain about. I really wish I could get an interview with him. But years ago, the explanation that I read somewhere, and I forget where, we're talking 20 years ago now, but at least, but the explanation I read was that those guys just felt like they were out of ideas. That was lucky. Story-wise, and they wanted to go out on a high note, not end with a crappy, fourth season. Or however many seasons it ended up getting. Give me just a second, folks. 2 seconds, I'll be right back. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they came back and they had a lot of, fun ideas for stories to tell, it could totally be warranted. Edlund is still friends with and will do work with a lot of the guys that were on that show and the other series, and there's kind of a tick brain trust, as it were. Like, you look at the producers for those shows, and some of them are the same guys. So it never occurred to me that that would be one to maybe consider bringing back decades later, but maybe so. I think Robert's onto something there. I would be a lot more excited about that than yet a third live-action iteration. And if the animation looked right, and if Townsend Coleman still sounds great, I would probably lose my mind when we got a trailer for it. And I'm finding myself a little bit more optimistic about those kinds of projects after X-Men 97, because I think overall it's pretty excellent. I'm also worried that too many things will come back badly, of course. And I'm also worried that X-Men 97 itself won't be able to hang on to that quality, having lost its showrunner, if I'm understanding that right, immediately before the show even aired. You know, it's hard to say how much of the excellent quality of that he's responsible for versus the rest of the staff. But we'll just have to see. I'm going to have to concentrate a little bit harder on these levels, because like I said, I don't know them as well. I think overall I've been playing a little bit better, just kind of relaxing and not thinking too much about the game while talking about other things. I tend to, stuff I know really well, I tend to play better that way. But the problem is, if I get into levels that I don't have fully memorized, that could come back and bite us a little bit. So I gotta be smart about it. There we go. I gotta play chicken with a vulture. And he comes down. I can't believe I got hit there. Woo. Get around this bee. Claptraps. Yes, those are called claptraps. Orangutan. Yes, I got away from Koba there. And then he always kind of vibrates a lot up against the end of that thing. And now I just gotta get through this orangutan, and I am home free! Yes! Managed it! AMC, I keep hearing that from people. He says Wolverine and the X-Men is very solid. As I've said before, I saw the pilot and was kind of bored by it, and then years later, I watched the pilot again, and I was still bored by it, and I just couldn't get excited about watching any more of that. But someday we'll do at least a watch party for it, and I'll force myself to watch episodes, you know, kind of casually that I haven't seen, and then maybe I'll more seriously watch it after that. That's been a nice thing with some of those watch parties, is even just, you know, talking over them and not paying as much attention as you would if you were just really concentrating in a room by yourself. You'll appreciate things, you know, being kind of forced, you know, to sit there and look at it, that make you go, okay, maybe I should give this a shot. And then you'll go back and actually look at it later. We're hoping to do a full-on spoiler cast for X-Men 97 in a couple of weeks. I was supposed to do it last weekend, and Jason ended up with an earlier dance time than we thought he was going to have for the next day, and he could not stay up that late. And I didn't want him to miss that show, so that's why we haven't done it yet. John is going to join us for that one when we get to that. But I'm behind on stuff. We were hoping to review Rebel Moon Part 2, just because we did the first one, and it was really amusing to talk about. I don't know if anybody will care about that at this point. Everybody's really written that off, and that's already kind of behind us now. But Jason still wants to do it. I think it might end up happening. I never got around to talking about Doom Part 2 when it came out. I still haven't had a chance to see it. So I don't know when you'll get a review from me of that movie. I'm sure it'll be like everybody else's. Yes, it's great. I'm not good at talking about Dune because it's like intimidating and unpenetrable to me, but I'll come in and just do the dumbest review you've ever heard from me. I thought there was one still writing further down, and I did not judge that right. I'll look at comments after I beat this level, but I gotta make sure not to screw this up, especially now that I'm Diddy Kong again. Oh, man, I was worried about that. This is another level I sometimes can get kind of stuck on. The last couple of playthroughs, though, I blew through this, and I'm not having that right now, which is unfortunate. So earlier today, I was playing a little bit of Sonic & Knuckles on original hardware. I kind of rearranged... Oh, man. That was cheap. Did you guys see that? That was pretty cheap. I have rearranged my retro game room, and I've got a lot of stuff hooked up now that I had just kind of on display for a long time, not connected to anything. Because I was using a Retron 5 for a long time, and I finally have decided that, and not to be a snob about it, however people want to play their video games to each their own, I play this old stuff on HDMI all the time with, like, the mini consoles. Okay, good, I jumped the right way that time. I am going to go Donkey Kong this time, just to be on the safe side, and because I'm going to get hit at some point, probably, and I'll want to have Diddy to play through the rest of it, I think. So that seems like the right move. Yeah, good stuff. But anyway, I brought that up to say, well, I guess I'll finish that thought about the Retron 5. I had two pin sets, because the Retrons are notoriously bad about the pin sets, or the slots, I should say, kind of grabbing your cartridges too hard. Yes, when you pull them out. And so I've ruined over several years. I mean, I had that for a long time. But I've ruined the NES slot and the Super Nintendo slot. And so the only thing that works on it now is Genesis and the Game Boy slot in the front. And so I've gone back to the original consoles for most everything. I've got to change my pin set for my old NES. And so that I've got a Retron 1 for if I ever want to actually play cartridges. But long story short, I've gone back to that and CRTs, and I kind of forgot just how pretty, how much prettier some of these games really do look on CRTs, at least to my eye. And I was playing Sonic & Knuckles, and I had this weird glitch I've never had before, where the first boss in that game, the first Robotnik boss, I should say, I get it. I get the boss fight triggered. So you, oh man. So you spin into the satellite that reveals Robotnik. And usually the boss music starts right up. but for whatever reason, it just didn't even happen, and it was hilarious. I had to fight the whole boss battle with no music. It was kind of eerie. All the sound effects were there, but no music. I've never had that happen. Sometimes with the different voice channels, you'll have little parts of music like dip in and out, even in the 16-bit era with the Super Nintendo and Genesis. But I've never had a track just not play before. AMC said he had a Retron 5 that caught fire internally. That's nuts. And that's why I shouldn't read comments while playing when I'm this late in the game. Jareth Gearhart, have you played the Game Boy Advance Donkey Kong games, Cap? I've sampled them here and there. And if memory serves, at least the first game is this game, but just trimmed down, and the levels are not exactly the same. Am I right about that? That's what I remember. That was the only way my wife played these growing up. Was the Game Boy versions. Well, you said Advance, though. So, no, I think I'm wrong about that. Is Advance the exact same games? Because they would be capable of basically producing the same thing, but then with, like, extra levels or different... Because I know Mario did that. I forgot about this shortcut here. I didn't even do this on purpose, guys. Whoa, that was weird. Okay, so I'm not used to that shortcut, so I don't actually know if I'm supposed to go up or down right now. Good, I was right about that. Okay. Oh, boy. Oh, man, I knew it. That sucks. Good lord. Dan Schneider, $5 super chat. Thoughts on people on Twitter saying Magneto is a good guy and Xavier is wrong? This is a major thing online. Makes me worried for MCU X-Men. Yeah, I've heard some of that here and there. I haven't given it a ton of thought. Except to say that we live in a pretty cynical world these days, and I guess I can sympathize a little bit with why some people feel like, you know, full-on equality is just not possible because of maybe their own experiences and what the world overall has seemed to show us. That is an idealism that I don't want to see us completely lose. But I think the point of Xavier is, in a lot of stories anyway, is he might not ever get exactly what he wants, but it's worth fighting for because in the long run, you want to hope that humanity is capable of bettering itself and being more enlightened. And much of the time, he will have to concede and compromise to a degree and say, yeah, we're never going to have, like, a perfect peace. We're never going to perfectly live together in harmony, have that coexistence, but we can get closer than we are now, and maybe it's not about the result as much as it is about what is true. You know, is one race, species, however you want to look at it, with X-Men, you know, like, truly better than the other, truly more, or less human than the other. And, so no, it does, the whole Magneto is right thing, bugs me a little bit because it's more complicated than that. Oh boy. I'm having a tough time getting through this level. I'm gonna have to really concentrate on this. That's a super chat, so I wanted to address that, but that is the kind of philosophizing that is gonna cost me minutes, I think. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. I like the way X-Men 97 handles it a lot because, spoilers for that, minor spoilers for that, but Magneto comes right out and says, I want to be better. I know I have not fully handled myself right in the past. And he doesn't believe exactly in Xavier's dream, but he doesn't want to be a monster. He doesn't want to be a tyrant. And it's I think, the best Magneto's ever been. Like, I just love him in that show. And he's got some speeches that really resonated with me. His whole thing, I've talked about this before, but his whole thing in the first, or I guess the second episode, where he says that the world is vast, but we make it so small, that really resonated with me. I didn't switch to Donkey Kong, but I don't think it... Well, or to Diddy Kong. I don't guess it matters because I just lost Donkey Kong. But I was going to say, I don't think it makes you any slower in the minecart. Oh my god, I almost had it. Okay, I'm starting to hemorrhage lives here a little bit. Be careful about that. James Egan, $7.99 super chat. Thanks for the support tonight, guys. Appreciate that. What other DC character would you like to see Matt Reeves tackle? That's a good question. See, I don't want to go into anything too samey. Like, it'd be easy to say Green Arrow, but, like, you don't want just more Batman with Green Arrow, which is the mistake that the Arrowverse made. But then I don't know if you would actually get that with him. I think he would probably try to make it, you know, more of what it was. Probably, though, the most obvious thing to go to is the Question. I think he'd probably do a good job with that material. This is a level I do not know as well as I'd like to. Yeah, I keep missing that. I'm stuck in the same place right at the beginning. Let me concentrate on this, and then I'll chat with you guys some more. So I was looking at the time. What is it? 12:40 now? Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Us night owls now. There we go. Just gotta time that bounce. See, I just don't know this level, so I'm not sure when to jump. Crap. Well, the good news is, if we lose all of our lives here, I mean, it would be kind of embarrassing. But if that were to happen, we're at least not very far into this map. You know, maybe actually not having Diddy at the beginning was the problem, because I think he also jumps a little higher. Oh, come on. There we go. I got lucky I didn't get hit there. I think I deserved to. It's so weird how little of this minecart level is coming back to me, actually. I really need another Kong right now. Yep. Yep, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, folks. I'm trying to think of another good Matt Reeves DC character. I mean, I don't know that I really want to see him go to anything outside of the Batverse, just because he's kind of building his own universe there. But, like, if that ended for some reason, or somehow he could do both and he wanted to do something, it would be interesting to see him do something in the other continuity and not make it and, you know, make it stylistically different enough. But I'm not sure what exactly it should be. Because obviously in my mind more immediately goes to just other Batman characters. Okay, sweet. Like, I'd love to see him do a Huntress movie. Okay, I gotta not get too cocky and ridiculous in this level. And I feel like I know this one fairly well, but I don't want to take any ridiculous risks with as few lives as I've got now. I don't know if I'm going to beat my time tonight, guys. I've lost a little bit in these last couple of maps, but we'll see what happens. And I'm getting a little tired, starting to fade a bit. But I've had a good time with you guys. Nice of you to hang out with me while I play a game I've played a million times. You know, it's funny, I see these channels and Twitch streamers especially do this, but I'll see these channels that will play like the same game all the time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you're allowed to do that. I guess I don't have to always sample a different game. It's always been kind of my strategy for game streams, like, what haven't I done yet? But I have to remind myself that streaming is not the same thing as reviewing, or at least it doesn't have to be. And what I like about these kind of streams is, you know, I know the game well enough that I don't have to worry about, like, getting lost and meandering around, and I can get stuck for a while if, like, I'm not playing well. But it makes it, in some ways, easier to discuss whatever happens to come on. Okay, knock on wood, but we got it. Yes! Well, and guys, with the whole Magneto as a hero thing, I mean, I like the ambiguity sometimes of, like, he is and he isn't. I like it when Xavier is allowed to be more morally ambiguous and to get too controlling and too rigid in his ideals, but also sometimes to begin to get a little bit cynical and go too far to Magneto's side. And I like the opposite thing with Magneto, where he starts to wonder if maybe Xavier's right. Because in some ways he is a hero. I mean, he's a pioneer for his people. He doesn't always handle it the right way, but inarguably, mainstream Magneto, you know, does a lot of good things for mutant kind. It's just not black and white, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay, last map, folks. Hour and a half, though. Yeah, I'm gonna be lucky if I can beat my record tonight. I've slowed down a little bit here, but we'll see. My record's an hour 48. I want to say I'll likely still get to the end tonight. I don't think I'll give up. Unless I just blow a ton of lives, like, by the second to last level and don't feel like finishing this map. But, I mean, I don't think that'll happen. Oh, man! Missed it. Just gotta move some windows around here. AMC. I know the whole Genosha thing, but I would have wanted a whole season of good Magneto. I feel like we got kind of close to that, or closer than I would have ever imagined. I'll talk about this all when I'm a little bit fresher with it, when we do a spoiler cast, but I mentioned that I love their Magneto. At least right now, just having watched it, it's easy to say he's my favorite Magneto right now. I don't know if that's really true, but it feels like that. The sad thing is, Xavier is my favorite X-Men character in general, and I didn't love their take on him at all, or at least the kind of, I felt like, sappy way he was played. I don't want to get into spoiler territory though, so I'm not going to talk anymore about that tonight. James Egan just put in a super chat. I will read that when I'm either finished with this level or die a couple of times, okay? Thanks, man. Oh, don't roll off yet. There we go. Gotta get this stupid tire off. Oh, somebody earlier said they felt like this is still the hardest Donkey Kong Country. Boy, I don't have that at all. It is really 2 for me. And I was going to say a long time ago, I wish I was fast at 2. I'm not yet. I don't know if I ever will be. Oh, come on. Don't die, don't die, don't die. I thought I was going to get hit there. Okay, James Egan, $7.99 super chat. Thanks very much. Have you ever thought about writing a comic? What would it be about? Who would you get to do the art? Well, I've actually had a couple of false starts in the past. I, years ago, was working on a book, not even kidding, called Tales from the Multiverse, before the whole, Marvel multiverse thing, and multiverse in general got anything like as popular as it is. My first novel is a multiverse novel. It was going to be set in that same universe. It was going to be an anthology thing about new characters and maybe some minor characters for my novels. You wouldn't even have to have read that book. It was just about different worlds in a multiverse. The gimmick of it was supposed to be, you tell, because I wanted to kind of get back to like great single issue storytelling. Because when I was in college, my bread and butter was short stories. It's kind of my first love. And I wanted to do that in comic form and kind of go back and prove that the medium can be great for that. And we don't do enough good single issue stories anymore. And the gimmick of it was going to be the end of each issue, or not the end, but like each issue would have a minor character somewhere that would end up being the protagonist for the next book, and you never know who it was going to be. And so that would be, oh, that sucks. That would be hopefully the thing that would entice people to keep going with it. Where I enjoyed this cast. I wonder who's going to get their own story next time, and not really a thing I've seen done before. Even now, I can't really think of anything that's done that. And so I had an artist at one point, and we started on it, and he got a lot of it, or maybe half of it drawn, maybe a quarter. I'm not sure. It's been a long time, and I forget why that ended up falling through, but at some point he just couldn't finish it, and I never found another artist. I never really expected there to be a lot of interest in that, but it was just a cool idea I had, so we were just doing it as kind of practice more than anything. So like nobody was getting paid, and it is harder to expect somebody to do sequential art because it's so much work if you're not paying them. And so, yeah, I'm definitely still open to trying comics again. My first instinct has never been to try to do a superhero because it's hard to make a new superhero that doesn't seem either. I don't know why I thought that would go over my head. Um, Either generic or really derivative. If I was going to do superhero, I would much rather do uh, just like fan web comics based on characters that I can get away with putting out without making money. But I don't draw, so I can't do that myself. And again, I'm not going to get somebody to do that with me. Yeah, I'm not going super fast right now because I don't want to lose. All right. AMC, the whole UN ambassador speech to Bastion about Magneto understanding humanity is better than Charles. Yeah, I agree with that. The next thing after the superhero rewind movie, I don't. I'm not gonna have a hard release date for that for a long time. I don't know how long post production is gonna take, and my goal is to get. Oh goodness, my goal is to get principal photography done by the end of the year, and I think we'll manage that. But I doubt if we can actually get the movie out this year. I think it'll be sometime hopefully early next year. But anyway, my plan after that is to finally, and it's ridiculous that it's taken me this long to get off my butt and do this, but I'm going to finally try to put Edible States in print. That's my food novel. And I've had talks with Tyler Overall about doing. I'm bringing this up because of the comic book thing. About doing a partially illustrated version where he would draw some pictures for that book. And so you'd get to see what a lot of the main food characters in their individual entries look like. And then my ultimate goal, I don't know if I've really talked about this on the channel, but my ultimate goal is to, and I've wanted to do this for years, but is to finally start a publishing arm of the channel I would really try to take seriously, where I would, and I don't know how this would impact the output of the channel, but I want to. Oh, that was weird. I couldn't even tell that I got killed right away. But what I really want to do is start focusing a lot more on my own writing again. I'm 40 this year. I have not written anything like as many novels and short stories and things as I expected to by now. No regrets. That's not a complaint. I love what I do. I love the channel thing, but I'm starting to think a little bit more about my mortality now. And I've done this 15 years, and I'm going, okay. At what point though are you writing books like you always said you would? And so, what I want to do is publish myself once every at least couple of years. Give myself that kind of leeway where I don't have to try to force the book out yearly, but if I can do that, I will. And then I want to publish somebody else once or twice a year. And so if we had a publishing arm, we would take novel submissions, I've got some great writers in my workshop that I'm hoping some of those guys, and I'll talk to them about this. I'm hoping some of those guys might be interested in doing a publishing thing with me. It's very dark in here. But that's the next big project that I'm hoping to work on. Someday I would like to do another documentary, I think. I've talked about that for years. I don't know exactly what it would be. And I've had numerous ideas that all of which I've ultimately felt like I just didn't have enough of a passion for it to put myself back through what it takes to make a documentary. Yeah, that's where I thought that was going. Oh, I forgot to mention, I saw the trailer for the new Power Rangers Beat 'em Up yesterday, and that made my day, man. I'm stoked for that. It looks awesome. It looks like Shredder's revenge for Power Rangers, which is, what more could you want? And it's got these really cool looking driving stages, and you get to do like first person Megazord fights. It looks wonderful. Oh my god. I think I missed that just because I'm tired. That was weird. Oh, come on. I thought I could land on that. That would have been really impressive if I had, but it did not work out. Yeah, I did it that time. Admittedly, I don't think it looked as impressive as I thought it would, though. Good job. You landed. It's crazy how fast the light disappears with these barrels. You gotta hit them just over and over again. Oh my god, I missed it again! How do I keep doing that? That's really weird. I feel almost like I'm going right through the platform. I don't understand how I'm missing that. I'm going to be bummed out if I have to call it a night before we can finish this, but... Well, let's not panic, folks. I might not beat my record, but we can at least see the end of the game. We'll at least try to do that. And then watch me be so tired I just have the worst K rule I've ever had. Okay, we made it that time. Bzzz. Oh, no. Yeah, I was like, I don't know where the barrel is. Oh my god. No! I should have hit that last one, and I didn't, and that was a mistake. Yeah. Okay, we need a second win here, folks. Schwager's Lover, I remember watching you when you were in your 20s. I was a teenager then. Yeah, where does the time go? And since then, I've had 6 kids, and oh, how did I lose him? What? Oh my god, I'm getting delirious at this point. Well, we had a really good first, like, 2/3 here, I think. And now it's just madness. I've been liking this with the Saturn controller, though. It's kind of surreal. When I was a kid, I could have never imagined that. I can't believe I skipped that last time. That was so stupid. I was like, oh, well, you could see the bee's eyes. Like, should be fine, right? No! Oh, my God. In the words of Cyclops in X2, no! You don't say that. Oh my god, no. This is so ridiculous. I didn't mean to put that tire there. Okay, so I've lost all my lives. No, I've almost lost all my lives. So if we die now, we're gonna have to play 3 levels again. So there's no beating my record tonight. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Like, I guess I'm gonna try to get through it now, but like I'm gonna have to do it again. I'm sure. There's no way I can do the rest of this without dying. Especially the way I'm feeling right now. This was maybe a mistake, but I've had a good time with you guys. No, yeah. My finger just slipped. Like I'm not playing great now. Oh, did it just start the whole game over? What? I thought. Okay. I guess we're going to have to call it then. I haven't done that in a while. I thought if you died everything, you just went back to the beginning of the map, but I guess not. Well, I hate that. I guess I did not beat my record or the game tonight, but I wasn't playing with save states or anything, so I can't jump back to where we were. So I guess that's going to do it tonight, but like it's 1 a.m. and I'm exhausted, so it's probably a good time to stop anyway. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I'm sorry I didn't get all the way to the end of the game, and I certainly thought I would, but that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and call it, though. I will see you guys hopefully for at least one more stream before I come back to regular content. I'm out of town all next week for a dance convention with my son in Branson. So I don't know if we'll do a stream while we're out of town or not, but if we don't manage anything, I will see you guys when we get back to regular content the week after. And again, I'll try to catch up on a few things that I've been wanting to review, including X-Men 97. So, as always, you guys are great. Appreciate the support tonight, just hanging out and talking. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan, and I'm going to go exercise and then go to bed. Bye, everybody.